A question from Matt Charbonneau from the Detroit News.
Okay. Hold on right quick, Max.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. How do I see the questions? How do I see
it? Can you hear us all okay?
No, I can't hear none of y'all. I only can hear you.
That's because
I said anything. You're okay.
All right.
That's because I had my phone on or mine on mute because I'm an idiot.
All right. Gabe, can you hear Matt now?
You there, pal? You got me? Hello? No, I
Gabe?
can't hear Gabe.
You can't hear me?
Now I can.
Now we can. There we go.
Well, I don't know why my phone doing that.
Operator error, probably. Just kidding with you. All right, so let's get started. I want to ask you about what it's been like without Tom around. How you guys have kind of been adjusting to that and adjusting to this whole world of trying to cope through all these changes that has kind of happened these last week or so here.
It's been very hard a little bit. I mean, just due to the fact that Coach is not here, because he's our coach and he's the main guy that's always in practice, always getting us hype. So it's our job to really pick ourselves up and the other coaches to pick us up too. So it's been a little bit challenging, but I feel like we're pushing through very good.
And have you been pretty healthy through all this? And can you believe that you guys got a game probably here in less than a week?
Yeah, I've been very healthy. I haven't got the COVID not one time yet, so that's a blessing. Yeah, and we're coming up on a game, which is kind of crazy because due to the COVID and due to everything that's going on in the world, for us to play, it's going to be crazy. That's crazy to me.
We'll go to Kyle Austin from M Live.
There we go. Hey, Gabe, just wondering how you guys have adjusted to all these protocols. You know, you're wearing the mask, you're doing the testing, you're doing all the other sorts of stuff you have to do. How much of an adjustment has that been, and how much have you kind of gotten used to it, would you say?
It's been kind of a big adjustment because every day you find out something new about the COVID. So every day they tell us, wear your mask, make sure you put it on, make sure you don't go nowhere without your mask. And sometimes it gets irritating having the mask on, but then again, it's just for our safety and for us to believe and trust in what they're saying. So we do it. We follow by their rules and follow by the code that they're giving us, and everything else will just work out for the best.
Next question's from Audrey Dahlgren from WLNS.
Hi, Gabe. I just wanted to ask you about Coach Stevens and maybe Coach Fife and everybody else. What kind of wrinkles are they putting into practice, maybe in their own type of way without Coach Izzo there?
Not really. They're not really putting any wrinkles. They just pushing us as hard as ever this time. I mean, they want us to go as hard. They want us to go in there and work hard and show that without him there, that we still work hard, we still push through everything. So they're not really putting in any wrinkles. They're being themselves, coaching us, and just being the great coaches that they are.
And Coach Izzo was mentioning to us when we first were able to talk to him when practices started, that he's looking to you as one of the guys to be, have a bigger role on the team this year in a leadership position as well. So how, especially now with COVID, have you taken on that role, and what have you done differently from last year?
Yes, I have taken on that role. I mean, what I say I have done differently than last year, I feel like I matured a lot. I mean, with this COVID hitting, it gave me time to think, it gave me time to realize what I need to work on during the off season and during the season that just hit, how to get my teammates involved, how to talk to my teammates, how to do things in a certain manner to get my teammates to rise above what they're playing at. So he's been on me heavy about that. We had a lot of meetings, a lot of talks, and I feel like it's coming along very well for me.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
We'll go to Jason Lewis next.
Hey, Gabe. Everybody that we've talked to, including Coach Izzo, has really raved about the improvement that you made this year. What have you seen the most from your game that you've taken a big step from last year into this year?
I would say consistency. Consistency is the one thing that I have taken the most in, and it's just been very, very tough for me because the following years I wasn't consistent. I wasn't going my hardest. I wasn't doing things like that. So for him to say I'm getting consistent and I'm getting consistent with my jump shot, coming in every day and working hard, this is one of the things I really tried to improve during this offseason.
One of the biggest things that I took away from what Coach Izzo was saying about you too is that he said that you could play that role in that 6-man role, and he kind of compared you to what Morris Peterson did back when the Flintstones were here. When you hear that and you hear that comparison to that kind of role, how does that make you feel, and how do you feel like you could live up to that?
It made me feel special. I mean, for me to get the comparison of Morris Pearson, that's very special. I mean, but I always try to be myself. I always try to not to compare myself to nobody because I always want to be Gabe Brown when I'm out there playing. And for him to put me in that category, because we talk a lot, he told me that too. So for him to put me in that category is it's exciting. I mean, if he believes in it, that means I believe in it too.
Thanks, Gabe.
You're
Next
welcome.
question's from Kellen Buddy from Channel 10.
Hey, Gabe, how's it going?
How you doing?
Obviously, good. Tonight we've got the NBA draft, and obviously a couple former teammates of yours, Cash and Xavier, are projected to possibly be picked tonight. What are your thoughts for them? Have you been in contact with them? Any kind of well wishes, and I guess where do you see them kind of ending up tonight?
Yeah, I talk to Cash and X a lot. I mean, as you can see probably on the Instagram, you see that they're working hard and doing the things that they're doing. But I talk to them a lot. I talk to X a lot. Me and X stay cordial. I really don't even ask them about really basketball because basketball is not one thing that decides everything about your future or decide your family. I ask about their family. I ask about how everything's going with their mom and dad, kids, things like that. I really want to know about that more than the basketball side because I just want to see how they're doing outside of the NBA, outside of the COVID, outside of everything. So I've been staying in touch with them, and I hope they get drafted tonight. I'm rooting for them.
All right, thanks, Gabe.
Next
welcome.
question up is from Chris Solari.
I hope you weren't breaking any news about Cassius having any kids.
Nah.
I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit more about practice. What has Coach Izzo been able to kind of watch you guys? I know he had talked about potentially kind of having a camera set up to watch from home, and how much have you guys talked to him, and what's he told you over the last few?
Yeah, he said he got the camera set up at his house where he's watching live practice and seeing what we're doing. Then after practice, every time we get into a huddle, he calls and just sees the things that he sees on the film because he says it's a lot different than being in practice than when you're not in practice, and that's true. So he calls us and tells us like the things that we need to work on. He points out people that are messing up or doing things wrong. But he's been great on it. He really has been great on it. I know he's not liking being at home because he's a gym rat. He loves to be in the gym. So for him to do that and really point out the things that we're doing, it means that he's on the same page as everybody else.
And for you guys, I mean, is it different not hearing him yelling, or how does he try to do that from afar?
Oh yeah, you can tell the difference. You can really tell the difference with him not yelling. You can really tell. But then again, I feel like Coach probably needed a little break. I mean, he's been going so hard lately where he probably needed a little break. Not saying COVID is good or anything, but he probably did need a little break. And he's talking to us every day. He's talking to me every day. He's talking to all the teammates every day. So he's doing the right things.
Time for a couple more questions. We'll go to Joe Dandrin from the State News.
Hey, Gabe, obviously, it's like Matt said, you guys playing in about a week or so. So I guess just, what makes, kind of the scheduling and everything kind of being weird this year, just hard to prepare for that first game and also not having Izzo practice either. Just kind of how has that been difficult so far? Even with Fife and Stevens kind of stepping in, just how is that different?
Only thing I say different is just Coach is not being there. Like, I don't think I ever, like in my 3 years of basketball, I don't think I ever seen Coach is not be at practice. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because Coach DJ, Coach OG, Coach Fife, those guys, they really go off of Coach is. Like if Coach is hype, they're hype. So they're trying to pick us up by when they come in, they're hype. Now we got to be hype, and we just trying to pick each other up. Like they're trying to work on things and we're trying to work on things, and they're trying to help us along the way. So it's very different for him not being in there. But for us with the first game coming up and us not knowing stuff, things like that, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, of course, there's not going to be any fans. There's not going to be family and friends in the stands. But then again, that's what you kind of want. You want your teammates to pick you up. And that's the best thing about basketball. If you got your teammates back, everything else will work out.
Go to Stephen Brooks from 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Gabe. Good to see you, man. I want since you've been here, Coach Izzo always mentions that you've been a really hard worker, a guy that stays in the gym. How different or difficult maybe was that to do this year with COVID and protocols, things being shut down, people trying to stay away from each other? You know, how were you able to get your hours in and get your work in like you would normally try to? Because that was something he said again about you this summer.
It really wasn't difficult for me, I'd say. I really just work. Like, I just work out every day. Like, even when the COVID hit basketball season last season, a week later, I was doing push-ups in the house, running, going on 5 mile. I think it was like 3-mile runs. I was doing the little things that's going to help me till now. Then when I went back home, I got in the gym, kept on getting in the gym. I had a weight room too, so I felt like everything was working out in my favor when those things were coming along. I just really tried to find out the best idea of what I could do in order for me to play this year and keep up my health and things like that. So, I mean, I did the right things, and I hope it pay off.
So you never really had much trouble finding a gym or anything that you really needed, I guess, throughout that time?
No, I really didn't have that much trouble.
Okay. And then real quickly, if I could ask you, X and Cash probably won't say this smartly, but is there a team you'd like to see both of them go to? Maybe not together, of course, but is there a team you'd like to see Cassius play for? Is there a team or player you'd like to see X play with tonight, after going forward?
I didn't really think about that. Probably, nah, I just really want to see him up there. I mean, that's one of the greatest experiences that you can go through in life. So for them to just even get drafted, I'm gonna be happy. That's really it.
Sure. Thanks, man.
Hey, Gabe,
Appreciate it.
thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Mitch.
Thanks, Gabe.
We'll do this again, and we'll see everybody soon.
Okay, for sure.
You Gabe.
Hi,
See
Gabe.
you.
Thanks.
Be well. Stay safe.
You too.
All right, Thomas Kithier will be joining us shortly.
Jeez, the beard popped up right in my face.
Sorry. So while I have everybody too, I will be sending a note out later on tonight that I'm gonna have a Zoom tomorrow morning. Cassius's and Xavier's agents have asked me to kind of coordinate something with everybody here. So Cassius and Xavier, it looks like tomorrow morning, one at 9:30, one at 9:45. But I'll know more about timing shortly.
Is that the same time you guys release the schedule?
Moving on.
That's next week, Matt. Come on. You don't need it yet.
I believe we have Thomas Kithier here. If we can, Thomas, if you can get your phone where we can see you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. If you want to, you all set? Can you hear us all, Thomas?
Yeah.
All right. We'll direct questions through the chat. First question up will be from Kyle Austin from M Live.
Hey, Thomas, thanks for doing this. Just wondering, first of all, the last week or so without having Coach Izzo at practice, how is that different? How is the dynamic different? And how have those other coaches kind of changed to help you guys?
Yeah, so, obviously it's been different. I think one thing, I give credit to the assistant coach for stepping up. At first we kind of came out a little flat, but we've slowly picked it up. And, we had a good scrimmage the other day, which we really bounced back. And I feel like we really improved on a lot of stuff there. But we're going to have to try to get used to stuff like this. It's kind of almost kind of like preparing us in a way because, anybody could go down at any point of the season. So, like we could have an assistant coach go down, a player go down, our trainer go down. So, we just got to be ready for stuff like this and just expect like the unexpected.
Hey, TK, before we go to the next question, can you flip your phone? So there you go. That's better. Next question up will be from Stephen Brooks from 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Thomas. I just asked Gabe the same thing. I'm just curious if there's any NBA teams that you think that you would like personally, just for whatever reason, to like to see Cassius go to, like to see Xavier go to tonight. And what are just your plans to watch the draft? Are a lot of you guys getting together as much as you can, I guess, or how are you guys going to approach that?
Right. Obviously, me like growing up in the Detroit area, I'd love to see one of those two go to the Pistons tonight, but I'm not sure like if that'll happen. I think it'd kind of be cool for one of them to go out to LA to join LeBron. I kind of like watching LeBron in a way, just because like he's one of the best players of our generation like, of all time. So I think that'd be cool to see him go out there. But honestly, I'm just happy for both of them. Playing with them in the past 2 years just to see them get drafted tonight, because they definitely will.
What about your plans to watch it? Are any of you guys going to be watching together, you think, or how are you going to approach that?
I'm not sure what we're gonna do tonight. I'm sure like a bunch of guys will get together. Maybe we'll go to Foster's place. Obviously, Foster's one of the captains, so usually he kind of organizes stuff like that. So I'm sure maybe we'll watch maybe the first half of the draft together. It depends like on what guys are doing homework and stuff. But that's usually something we'll talk about like after practice to get together.
Thanks, man.
Next question up is from Matt Charbonneau from the Detroit News.
Thomas, I can imagine not hearing Tom Izzo's voice at practice is a little odd. What has that been like the last week or so? Not hearing that constant Tom Izzo screaming and hollering and everything.
Right. It's been different. I can say that maybe like 100% of the guys, one of the reasons why they committed here is because of Coach Izzo. I mean, I think there's only 5 Hall of Fame coaches nationally still coaching right now. For college. So, it's just been like a little bit different to get adjusted to. We've had it like in the past, maybe coach misses a practice here and there, but it's been like totally different. This whole year has been different though. So it's kind of good in a way where we can kind of expect what I said earlier, like expect the unexpected. So just like kind of getting used to stuff like that, right? And just kind of overcome adversity, I'd say. We dealt with a ton of it last year with our team. And I think it's only going to help us just in case, somebody else goes down.
And what about you in particular? I know the 5 spot is a crowded position on this team right now, and a lot of guys that can contribute in a few different ways. Where are you at with that right now, and how do you see your role kind of expanding this year, especially early in the year, being a guy who's a little more experienced up there?
Yeah, so I think obviously I'm one of the most experienced bigs this year. Being around being on my junior year, I kind of see myself as kind of like a glue guy again. A guy that can help the team any way possible, and a guy that can get people open, get people the ball, and like screen, run plays, dudes, and like get guys open. But especially like at where I say like our bigs in general, like our 4 and 5 is the most deep position. So I think a lot of things we can do this year is we can throw a bunch of different bodies at people, and put guys in there for spurts. Someone like Julius has improved a lot this offseason. Markey has gotten better. And then you have Malik and Joy that can play the 4, and then you also have Monty, who's like a very talented freshman. So I think a lot of it will just be like, at first kind of figuring out minutes and how we're going to do that, and just getting our legs underneath us and our air, just getting used to that. But I don't know really how like minutes are going to go, but I think I've had a pretty good fall camp. So I think I'm just going to be kind of like a glue guy, almost kind of like maybe obviously not to shoot the ball as good as Kenny, but try to do stuff like Kenny does and just try to like be in the right place at the right time.
Next question is from Chris Alari from Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Tom, it's good to see you. Talk a little bit about what the past few months have been like in terms of the team building.
Yeah.
And Coach always talks about trying to get a player-led team. Who's kind of stepped forward, do you think, in that role from a vocal standpoint right now, especially with him out?
Yeah, so I think one person for sure who's probably one of the best leaders on our team, if not the best, is definitely Josh Langford. He's been out the past 2 years with his foot. And, maybe he was like a little bit quieter, not as involved, just being out, just kind of like, but Josh has always had a good attitude towards it. I just think with Coach Izzo going out and unfortunately getting Corona, that I think Josh has really stepped up even more. So as a leader and really has improved. Josh is always the one talking to us in the locker room before practice saying, like, let's have a good practice. Let's take coaching the right way today. And, we had a team meeting a couple of days ago, and I think Josh was one of the vocal people. And also, I think Foster has done a great job too. I think Foster doesn't get as much appreciation as he should. I think him and Josh are right there as being one of the top 2 vocal leaders on our team.
And from Josh's standpoint, what has it been like for you to kind of see his resurgence and kind of where he's at right now physically?
It's amazing. It's something that I personally did not expect to happen. After Josh hurt his foot the second time, like I honestly, like in my opinion, I thought Joshua's career was going to be done here. Just like the fact that he can recover from basically hurting his foot 2 years in a row and have the perseverance to stick through it and go to rehab every day, because that definitely sucks to do. and just keep working and getting better. You know, I don't know if I don't know if it's something I could do. It just makes you trust anything Josh can say or do on the court, because like it's something that you want to go to battle with. Because if he can go through that, he can do anything on the court with you to try to make the team better.
Next question is from Audrey Dahlgren from WLNS.
Hey, Thomas, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you in terms of obviously not having a full schedule set in place yet, but you do have, seems like your non-conference games are all set in stone. How nice is it to be able to keep that Champions Classic game with Duke, and then also your perspective on facing Virginia in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, and, you know, with Joey going up against his brother?
Yeah, right. So to start with Duke, you know, I think it's really good that we can stay in that and keep that going, because I think that I'm not sure if it's the first game this year or not, how like it usually is for college basketball, but the fact that you have 4 Final Four every year caliber teams that can play in that, it really gets you ready for almost Big Ten play in a way, because especially how good the Big Ten play this year, you could play an NCAA tournament basically every game this year. So I think that's huge for us to continue to keep playing in that and keep that on the schedule. Then also Virginia, they're again another Final Four team. I just think both of those games, well, obviously with Joey's brother, it's going to be cool for those two to play each other, and hopefully they can guard each other throughout the game. I think that'd be kind of cool to kind of watch, like when you're not playing the game and you're sitting out getting a break or whatever. But I think it's just good for us to play those big time games before the Big Ten to get ready for teams, you know, like Illinois, Michigan, Iowa. You know, the guys are a bunch of returning people, so it'll be good for us before Big Ten.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have time for a couple more questions. We'll go to Kyle Austin from MLive.
Tom, I'm just wondering what kind of general kind of philosophy you have to take towards this year. I mean, obviously, you know that there's a likelihood games get canceled, games get moved. You might have guys out because of different. I mean, how much you have to kind of change your mindset and be flexible kind of when you think about this?
Right. So I think one way you got to think about it is you just got to take one day at a time, you know, and also with that, for the sake of our team, is we have to make sure we do everything we can do, you know, with the testing, with not going to places where there's crowds, wearing your mask and doing all that stuff. So I think it's just controlling what you can control and just kind of like taking one day at a time. You know, like we can't worry if, you know, if whoever we play, Duke, Michigan, whoever we play, we can't control what they're doing, what their guys are doing. So I think it's just us making sure like we keep our team bubble intact and making sure that we are in the right places at the right time. So I think that's the most important thing, and then just taking one day at a time.
Next question is from Jim Comparoni.
Hey, Tom, thanks for taking time out to do this with us. We appreciate it, Thomas. Now, you said you're aiming to be a glue guy. What skills and areas did you feel that you needed to improve upon in order to expand your role to be that kind of glue guy? What have you needed to improve upon based on what we've seen the first couple of years?
Right. So I think one thing was just kind of like improving my strength. You know, guys kind of say it's cliche, but I really do feel like I've done a great job with that over the course of quarantine. You know, I had a best friend back home who basically, you know, had kind of like a mini weight room in his basement. My best friend, Dino, from back home. So I was over there almost lifting every day, you know, just to try to get stronger, because there was nothing else to do for the 4 or 5 months we were in quarantine. So I think that was the number one thing. But also, I just think kind of like my experience in a way, like on the court, like I'm not really thinking what I have to do anymore. Like I just kind of know it. I know the system. Like I'm in the right places at the right time. So I think that really helps me out too, being an upperclassman with age and not like really thinking that through, and like having that like stress me out. And the same thing as plays, like I know all of them.
All right. Also, you said that your team wants to throw bodies at people inside. I imagine one of those bodies could be freshman Matty Sissoko.
Yeah.
What are your first impressions of him, and how is he playing?
Well, my first impression of Matty is he looks like DK Metcalf, the football player. That dude is just huge. Like he is literally like probably strongest freshman in the country, if not like one of the strongest bigs in the Big Ten. It's just crazy like how much of a gifted of an athlete he is, you know, and that was like my first impression of him. But like throughout camp he has gotten better, you know, he's gotten better, like just like being able to like catch, you know, like fast passes on the break and stuff, or like no look passes, and just honestly just learning the system. So I think he's made huge improvements over the 3 or 4 weeks we've last had.
Okay, thank you.
Last question we have will be from Chris Solari.
Kind of want to, after everything you guys have been through and knowing that there's a lot of uncertainty ahead, how have you guys, in terms of dealing with the mental aspect of this, kind of processed everything And how do you deal with it moving forward, knowing that not everything is necessarily certain? I mean, it's got to be, you know, there had to have been some lessons learned in March that maybe you're applying now.
Yeah. So I think one thing is just, as I said earlier, just take one day at a time and control things you can control. Because, you know, I mean, I would assume, you know, every game will not be played this year. There'll be cancellations, and our Big Ten, for us, I'm sure there's a good chance we don't play every game. But you know, it's just going to be a different approach this year in a way of you just got to be ready for anything. You know, we could be warming up 10 minutes before a game and something gets canceled, you know. So it's just going to be different. And I just think that if we can control the tangibles of us staying safe, us wearing our masks and doing stuff like that, then we'll be okay.
Awesome. TK, thanks so much for taking the time.
Yep. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Yep.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Max.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Max, for setting us up. We'll
Yep.
talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, and we should
Thanks,
have,
Tom.
like I said, we'll have Cassius and Xavier tomorrow morning, and then I'm hoping to try to get a couple players from our current team either around this time in the afternoon or maybe after practice tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Sounds
Sounds
good,
good.
Max.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, Matt, drink some coffee.
I already am, pal. See ya.
Everybody.
Bye.